here with my good friend Ryan Rozicki. It's nice to have you back after the Easter holidays. How was the holidays?
It's good.
Good time with the family? A little quick trip back to Cape Breton? Good
Yep.
stuff.
Yep.
Obviously in December you fought Durola. That was a big fight. I was there, I witnessed it. It was one of the best performances I've seen out of you. And I've been with you for the last, going on, I'd say 6 years now. Very impressed, and I want to touch base after that fight, but we didn't get a chance, so I would like to just rewind quick before we get into the new stuff and talk about the Durola fight, how you felt on that night, and how you feel about your performance.
I went exactly the way I said it was going to go. I think I said in multiple interviews before that fight that I was going to knock him out early in the fight. I just felt like styles make fights, and I knew he was going to come forward looking to knock me out. I knew he relies on his power, and he underestimated my defense for sure. He
definitely underestimated the Bruiser's defense, and it's something I've seen you've been really working on and studying, and yeah, it was a great electric crowd too. How did it feel to fight that big fight in your hometown in front of the Cape Breton fans?
It was good because it was something that I said I was going to do early in my life. I said that I was going to bring big fights to Cape Breton, and that was definitely the biggest fight Cape Breton, probably one of the biggest fights ever in Nova Scotia. It was the world title eliminator. A lot of people don't realize how big of a fight that was. Maybe 100 years from now, they'll truly appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. Title eliminator, you're number one. You were number one, ranked by the WBC going into the fight because of the good work you did with Alante Green. With Durola being ranked number 8, fighting him made you not just number 1, sorry, you got that from the Alante Green, the good work you've been doing before that, but fighting Durola gave you the number 1 spot in the mandatory.
Yeah. And the fights leading up to that fight as well. That was 5 fights in 12 months, I believe.
Yeah, you've been one of the most active fighters in boxing. I can't name another guy in the top 20 right now, maybe top 50, maybe top 100 that did 5 fights in a 12-month span.
It's
real dealers too. Like there are guys who start off in their career. We'll say the Mike Tyson where he fought once a month, but we're talking like high-level boxing here. Everyone in the top 100 for the last 5 fights, right?
Yeah, I believe that out of those 5 fights, I think two, maybe 3 of them were heavyweights. And I believe at least 3 of those 5 opponents had never been stopped, never even been down in their careers.
Yeah, so Mig fought in the heavyweight, Aguilar fought heavyweight, Gorlov fought heavyweight, and Durola fought Alante Green fought at heavyweight.
That's right.
George Arias as well.
Yeah. No, all them guys, they were all big punchers too. Except for Gorlov. Wasn't a big
puncher?
No.
Out of the 5 fights, which was your favorite?
My favorite? Probably the Green fight.
Yeah, that was a crazy fight. And
yeah.
I mean, there were things that I told Rozicki after the fight, like when I went to interview him in Cleveland, he was actually sparring partners for Stipe Miocic, training for John Jones. So that was pretty cool that he has those type of sparring partners. He literally had the best UFC champion ever.
Jared Anderson as well, I believe, heavyweight puncher.
Yeah.
He thought that sparring heavyweights who are known as big punchers were going to prepare him for that night.
Yeah, they have that Cleveland, Ohio style of boxing, and they have
the arrogance too.
Yeah, they have a good team out there. Much respect to them.
I didn't respect him that much because of what he said leading up to the fight. So it would have been different if he didn't say the things he said, but I approached him with respect, and I was brought up that if somebody approaches you with 10% respect, you give them 100. If they approach you with 10% violence, you give them 1,000. And he, when we had our first meeting it was a virtual interview with Manny, Montreal, I spoke highly of him. He countered by kind of diminishing my skills and stuff. So and then he went on to post just, arrogant stuff, and then at the weigh-ins he kind of acted like a bit, disrespectful. So I really wanted to hurt that guy. I didn't just want to win that fight. I wanted to end his career. I wanted to make sure that he never fought again, and that the fight didn't end early. I wanted to drag him into the deep waters, and then do it. I did exactly what I wanted to do, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the. I think that was the most electrifying moment in the Hamilton show's history for Three Lions Promotions. Not just Ryan Rozicki, but in general. That, and obviously I would say to a close number 1 to 2 would have been a tag, but
Yeah.
the crowd definitely erupted at that moment.
And at the end of the day, no matter, as much as I don't like the guy, and I want to hurt him that bad, I still got to respect the guy, because, man, he was he had a lot of heart that night. 10 rounds of just pure punishment. Both of us took. We both ended up in the hospital that night. That was a brutal fight with a even more brutal ending.
What's even crazier is that after that brutal fight, less than 6 weeks after, or 2 months after, right?
2 months.
You fought Durola. Performance-wise, do you have anything you want to comment on your performance for the Durola fight?
For the Durola fight, that was everything came together that night. Even though, like I said, I damaged my arm, still it didn't matter, because everything just was going good, and I was on a hell of a momentum. That whole year was just fight after fight after fight. I was in camp, 95% of the year. There was no break, so I was not going to stop until I earned the world title shot. Even if I didn't get it with that Durola fight, I guarantee you I would have been in the ring within the next month or sooner. I would have just kept going until I got that world title shot. I wasn't stopping. And now that I got it, I took a breather, and now I'm back in camp, and I'm ready.
And now you're back here training. And so obviously the champion right now is Noel McKillen. He's from Armenia, and he resides in Montreal. And this is the fight that we're talking about now.
Miami.
So technically we can't say where or when, because it's not for sure, but we know who the champion is, and we can talk obviously about him. So he resides in Miami. He's from Armenia. He's the current champion, and you will be facing him at one point.
Yeah.
So obviously you're into the first week of camp. How are you starting to feel about starting to focus on this guy and where we're going?
Right now, it's just get fight fit. I'm not that far off. I could get in the ring tonight. There's no question about it. I'm always ready to fight, as we all know. But to be in condition to be coherent, be alert, be sharp for 12 rounds, that's another level of condition, another level of fitness that takes time and dedication to get. And, that's why we need time in camps. Doesn't mean I couldn't go 12 rounds. I could get in the ring right now and do 12 rounds, but it'd be ugly, I'd have to make it a fight. Because fighting for me is easy, but to box and stay focused and disciplined and follow a game plan and not take silly punishment, I got to be physically fit to do that. So, I'm starting camp now, and whenever the fight comes, it comes, and I'll be ready for it.
Were you able to view Noel versus Makabu?
Yeah, I watched that fight live.
What did you think about your fight? What's your comments on that whole fight?
If I'm being 100% honest, I felt Makabu just looked terrible that night. I'm not gonna take nothing from Noel, but it's really hard to really assess what he's capable of based off the poor showing of Makabu.
And he was able to make history that night, as he would say.
What kind of history?
I don't know. That's what he said.
I don't think he made any history, no. I could be wrong, but it just looked like a quick knockout fight to me.
Yeah, plus Makabu showed up 12 hours before the fight off jet lag.
Yeah.
He didn't have time to jet lag or anything, right? So.
But hey, at the end of the day, if Makabu would have clipped him and knocked him out in the first round, no one would be talking about that.
That's true.
So,
you're 1,000% correct.
I think at the end of the day, a fight's a fight, and anything can happen in there, you know. Anybody can get lucky, hit you on the chin.
What do you, stylistically, because now that we're talking about this fight, what do you see with Noel McCallum?
I think he's a really, really good boxer. I think he's probably, well, obviously he's the best in the world in the weight division, as far as paper goes. But I think stylistically, I'd call him probably a mover, a boxer, a pure boxer. I don't think I'm sure he can punch. Like everybody at cruiserweight, heavyweight, even light heavyweight can punch. Any man walks around 200 pounds can hit hard. Don't kid yourself. Even if a guy's got 30 fights, he's only got a handful of knockouts. He can still punch hard. Anybody at that weight. But the difference between somebody with a high knockout ratio and somebody with a lower ratio, like Noel, for example, my knockout ratio is almost 100%, and I believe his is could be less than half his fights, maybe won by knockout. The difference is instinct. It comes down to, not who's physically stronger and who can deliver more force and the power. I think it comes down to this and who wants to actually hurt the other guy. I don't think Noel is. I don't think he wants to hurt the guys he's in there with. I think he's just happy with landing punches, and if they go down, they go down, and if they don't, he's quite content with just, winning the fight. I think for him, it's more important to win a boxing match than it is to hurt the other guy. That's the difference between me and him. That's the difference between our styles, and that's what it comes down to. I'm going to want to hurt him. He's going to want to beat me in a boxing match.
I like that. That's beautifully put. Do you see any holes in his game?
Yep.
And kind of I wouldn't say in his game, but
he makes mistakes.
Yeah.
He makes mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he makes a very, it's a common mistake that we'll say 19 of my 20 opponents have made.
You want to comment on what it is?
Sorry, 19 out of my 20 wins those opponents have made. He gets hit. He gets hit. That's his mistake.
Obviously, we can talk about how would you see a fight with you and him going?
I think I'm going to knock him out within. But I think I'm either going to clip him early in the first or second round with a one punch knockout, or he's not going to get up mid rounds because he'll sit down for the stool and I don't think he'll get back up. I don't think he's been in a real fight yet. I don't think he's been in a real fight. I know he fought Bradis. I know he fought Makabu. But there was no adversity in any of his fights that I've seen. I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I just don't think he's been in a real war yet. And I think once he's in a war, I don't think that's where he wants to be. I think he's happy living the life he's living, running on the beaches in Miami and sunbathing on a hammock, drinking beer.
Well, right now he's in the Bahamas training, so we know he's preparing for something right now, just like you're starting to get into camp.
Preparing for a Baywatch movie scene.
Do we want to talk predictions on this fight?
I don't think he'll get up for the fourth round. Yeah.
Do you have any message you'd like to say to him, his fans, your fans, about this potential upcoming fight?
I mean, train hard because I'm gonna come try to hurt you, and I hope that he tries to hurt me because that's what this is about. That it's gonna be a world championship fight, and I hope he comes with all the violence he has because I know I am.
There's one more thing I want to touch on, just in case if we haven't yet, is obviously you've connected with Jack Dempsey's grandson, and you guys have become, friends. He actually trains and has a gym out in Florida.
Yeah.
And you're talking about going down there to train a little bit for this fight to really motivate you to live a dream, and something that most people don't get to do. How does that make you feel? Or at least tell us the story of how you guys connected and what's going on with that.
Yeah, so when back in the summertime, when my promoter Dan, he took me down to New York to the Jack Dempsey Firpo 100th anniversary of that fight. So we went down and I got to meet Mauricio, the president of the WBC. I got to go to some different restaurants. I actually met some people who were close with Jack Dempsey at the end of his life. That got to go to one of his restaurants in New York, one that's named after him anyway. Got to, you know, there's a lot of history about Dempsey there. We even got to go into one of his hangouts that he used to hang out with. They had his pictures all over the walls and everything, and you know, got to talk to a lot of different people and meet a lot of different people and learn a lot about them. Anyways, after that, I really started being more active on social media and mentioning Jack Dempsey quite a bit. And here, I didn't know that his great grandson Josh Dempsey was following me like on Instagram. So I followed him back and gave him a message and stuff, and we started connecting. And you know, he shares all of my posts and stuff that I make about Jack Dempsey, and he really likes the idea and likes that I'm, you know, bringing his great grandfather's name back into the boxing scene, and not only doing it, you know, on a small stage, but I'm doing it on the world stage. So, you know, here I find out he has a boxing gym down in Miami, and so I'm gonna go down there, and me and Stevie are gonna go down and train at his gym, and I'm gonna have Josh Dempsey in my corner when I do fight for the championship of the world. So, you know, 15 years ago, people thought I was crazy when I talked about Jack Dempsey, and here I am now. His blood is going to be in the ring with me for the championship of the world.
So I didn't want to bring that up. I'm glad you did. I was going to say, yeah, I was going to bring that up, but yeah, you will have a relative of Jack Dempsey in your corner for this fight.
Yeah.
You couldn't write this in a movie.
No, and everything that happened in the last couple years, you know, I read that I'm as most people know, if you follow my career, you know, I walk out with the book of Jack Dempsey, and actually the reason being is because I'm reading his story, and I stop at every fight leading up to the championship of the world, and so far everything has gone pretty much the exact same way. I've knocked the opponents out in the same manner, and the only thing left to do is to win that title. And I know that when Dempsey won that belt, Jess Fuller didn't get up for the 4th round, and I really believe that it's going to happen. The same thing's going to happen with Noel. I don't think he's going to get up for the 4th. I think it's going to be a repeat of what happened on that night, 1919.